So you want to make games for Xbox, but you don't know how to get your controller connected to the game. I'm here today to help you out with that. So let's start by creating a blank Unity project. Click New. Go ahead and name it. Now I've already created one to save us a little bit of time. So I'm going to open up this blank Unity project. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and download the Unity package from the description. Right over there, somewhere around there. So now we have a blank project, and what we want to do is click on the Assets tab, Import Package, and choose Custom Package. Navigate to your download, wherever you downloaded the Unity package, and make sure you import everything. Let's go to Scenes and double click on, oh actually I think it goes in here. So click on the Xbox Input Kit, go to Scenes, and double click on Singleton Scene. This is the scene that we want to start from every time. You'll notice there's one empty game object called Input Manager, and it has a script Input Manager Singleton. What this will do for us is two things. First, it will initialize our Input Manager so that we can detect Xbox controller inputs. Second, it'll update the Input Manager every frame so that we get constant updates on our controller status. Alright, so now for the good stuff. Let's go to Edit, Project Settings, and notice how we have 18 axes. That's nowhere near enough for an Xbox controller because we need up, down, we need left, right for each stick. So up, down, left, right, D-pad, up, down, left, right, triggers. Each one individually is an axis, and then there's also the dual trigger axis. So we need all of that. And if you have two controllers, then you need one for each controller. 4 controllers, yeah. Xbox One supports up to 8 controllers. So we want to have 8 axes, potentially, for each trigger, for each X-axis, each Y-axis. So that can add up real fast. Now the way to do this manually is you increase the size, go to the last one, rename it, click, 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 click. Yeah, you get the picture. It's a hassle. It'll take a long time. I'm here to save you guys that time. So we're not going to do any of that manually. Let's go to the Assets folder, click on Xbox Input Kit, and then click on Input Manager Axis Generator. We'll use the first script. You can just throw it onto this object. And then if you wanted to do your own custom axes, let me turn off my picture so I'm out of the way. If you wanted to do your own custom axes, you just go ahead and fill out these fields over here. The joystick number is the only one that does not matter because that's going to get filled out automatically. If you want it for 8 controllers, just put an 8 here at the bottom. Your joystick axis index is actually the axis that the controller maps to. So if you're using the right trigger, it maps to a specific Unity axis, so make sure you put the correct number. And then you would just click Generate Custom Axes, and it'll make 8 copies of that axis for you, modifying just the name and which joystick has that axis. So it'll only read it from a specific joystick. That means you could have 8 different controllers, each getting their own input sent to Unity. Okay, we don't want to do that for every single axis, so let's just do it the easy way. Click this button at the bottom, and it's going to generate all your Xbox axes. Just to show you what we currently have, I'm going to open up Project Settings. We have 18 axes. Let's click the button at the bottom, count to 5, or however long it takes for your computer to write a file, click this X, and don't save. Go back to Unity and open up your project one more time. We're now forcing the project settings to update and read the new file. So now when I go to edit project settings, oof, it should have said 90. That hurts. Let's try it one more time. Input axis generator, generate recommended Xbox axes, wait for a few seconds, click the X, don't save, and try opening it up again. I feel like it just takes a while before it reads that again, like it tries to read it from memory or something. I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but basically we're just rewriting the file and then hoping that it'll update. There we go. So we have 90 axes. Maybe I misclicked. Maybe I didn't actually click the button before. So we should have 90 axes here, or something close to 90. And basically it's just like 8 copies of left stick X and 8 copies of left stick Y, 8 copies of right stick X, right stick Y, D-pads, triggers, and the dual trigger. So now we have all of our input axes filled out for us. That would have been a huge hassle to do that yourself, so please don't do it yourself. What can we do now? Well, okay, perfect. So let's go back to the singleton scene and press play. I wonder if it's set up. No, it's not set up. I think I just crashed my editor. Control-Alt-Delete, Task Manager, Unity Editor, End Task. Okay. Sorry about that. I skipped a step. We forgot to add the scenes to the build settings so that we could test this out. So, build settings. Yeah, I gotta fix that. Let me just add these scenes one more time. Add open scene. So we got our singleton scene, and then let's go to our sample scene and then add that one to the build settings. Make sure that the singleton scene is index 0 and the sample scene is index 1. So now let's open up our singleton scene again and press play. Now we should be good. So we're currently on the cube scene, and here's what's actually happening. If you look at the singleton scene, we have our input manager, and now this controller monitor for editor is filled out with 8 different axes. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my Xbox controller, and I'll turn my camera back on so you can see the controller in action. So we're connecting a blue controller. That's going to be element 0 here. So I'm just going to press a few buttons. The A button. Oh, I need to click in the Unity window. So the A button. Notice how it changed colors, and also right over here you see it changes from is ready to is holding. So I'm just pressing different buttons. Maybe the sticks. You can press the analogs, get some analog values. The trigger, it actually depends on how far you press it down. You'll get different values, in case you didn't know that. The dual triggers, if you press both, you can kind of like get different numbers too. So everything seems to be working. You'll notice the cube changed colors every time I press a different button. I'm going to turn on my red controller. Give it a few seconds to connect. And now, my red controller, I'll press the A button. Press maybe the right stick, that one makes it nice and bright. Blue controller, right stick. Pretty cool stuff. So let's say you wanted to throw in these inputs into your own custom script. Here's what you'll do. We're going to go to the Xbox Input Kit, and then go to Xbox Input Tools, and then look at the cube color script as examples. If you go through the ReadMe, you can also do that, but the cube color script, that's got everything we need. So basically, to read an input, you just refer to input manager.controllers. Give it the index of the player that you want. So if it's player 1, then you'll put index 0. If it's player 2, you'll put index 1, etc. And then you can just ask for get and whichever button you want. So if it's a button, I named it with state at the end because you're going to be getting a button state. If it's an axis, which returns a float value, then it does not have the word state. There's one other thing, the player index. That's just the player that was assigned this controller. So you can feel free to change that if you want people to like change their color or something like that. I don't know. But if you need to change the player index, you also have that ability. So there's get and set for everything. You really shouldn't have to use set, just the get function, so that you could check values and then do whatever you need to do. So if I did get button A state, then it'll check the state of button A, and you can compare it to other button states to do something. So in this case, if it is pressed, then it'll turn the color blue. So let's talk about the button states real fast. There are 4 button states. So that's in the Xbox controller script. There's is pressed, is holding, is released, and is ready. Is pressed is the very first frame that the button gets pressed. Is holding is every frame while the button is held down. Is released is the very first frame after you let go of the button. And is ready means the button is currently not pressed. So it's every frame that the button is not pressed. That would be is ready. And again, your axes, those are all just float values, so it'll return a float. So I have probably taken too much of your guys' time. Hope you guys make some really cool Xbox projects. I used to do PlayStation only, but now I got an Xbox as well, so I can't wait to play your games. If you thought this video was helpful, feel free to click on the subscribe button somewhere over there. I don't know where it's at. If you don't want to do that, you can also hit the like button. Yeah, it's down there. That'll help me grow my channel so that I can hopefully inspire some more people to make some cool games. See you guys in the next video.